21 years old. I'm joking. I look 12. No, I just graduated uni this year. I got a first in journalism from the University of but I've really been passionate about media and communications for a really, really long time. It's always something that I wanted to be involved in. So at the age of 14, I joined my local magazine company called Live Magazine. And I was contributing from the age of 14 whenever I had school holidays, and it was where I spent most of my time. Slowly after that, I became online editor. I think it was 2 years after joining. And then I got introduced to the Spirit of London Awards and One Big Community, which is another project of the Spirit of London Awards. And I became their media manager for around 2 years, maybe. But since then, I joined college and I joined university, and I went through loads of different ventures. So from print, which is kind of like stuff like The Guardian and the Evening Standard, which is both publications that I've written for in the past, I moved on to television and production. I started as a junior production journalist with London Live, which is the Evening Standard TV. It launched last year. And then at the moment now, I'm working with Sony Music as a marketing manager. I work with the label Psycho, which it's Simon Cowell's company, so they manage One Direction, Little Mix and Labyrinth as well, and that kind of stuff. But I think for me, long term, the kind of role that I want to get into is finding creative solutions to really big, major problems. So at the end of the year, December 7th, I leave London for a year to join the United Nations for a young, it's called the United Nations Young Professionals Programme. 25 people get selected internationally every year, and this year 3 people from the UK got chosen, and I was lucky enough to be one of those 3.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm kind of going on to do that, really.
And obviously we've touched on Mayor of London as well. You have been doing a lot when it comes to engaging young people with politics. Mm-hmm. What do you think the next Mayor of London is? What's the challenges they're going to face?
Yeah, so I funded myself the largest debate tour in the UK. So from October to November, 6 weeks, 60 debates, one conversation, and we have an annual finale in Parliament. So I fund that myself because I'm very passionate about engaging people in politics. I think the next Mayor of London has to have a stronger blueprint for how young Londoners can progress in life, because we are, as Prime Minister would like to say, in a global race. Unfortunately, you're not just competing with the person in your school anymore. When you leave school and you go to college or university or whatever, you're also competing with the person in New Delhi who's really good at IT and can make a website cheaper. You're also competing with the person in China that can produce more units of the clothes that you want, or the person in other countries in Germany that creates cars. We're in a global race, and as young people, we need to ourselves find ways for us to compete.
So we'll start with you, Dean. You are a poet, a published author, and a teacher. Achievement through Arts in 2009. Tell us how you started out.
I started writing poetry as a very personal thing, just for myself, as a way to kind of get a lot of stuff off my chest that I was going through as a teenager. Does anyone here keep a diary or like write their own thoughts and feelings down in some way? Yeah, cool. So for me, my poetry was like my diary, so I wouldn't show it to people at first, but eventually there were a few friends and a few people I trusted that I would show, and they were like, actually, you know, this is well composed, you're actually putting something across that I understand. It doesn't seem like it's meant to be private, but maybe you can share it. So I found opportunities both within school and then around London. There's a lot of poetry open mic nights where you can share your work, so I started doing that. And yeah, it gave me quite a thrill at first, you know, just to share this stuff, but also it felt quite empowering both to myself and some audience members when we could relate on certain issues. So I'd write about my, being mixed race and finding my identity in other ways, and also write about my dad not being around. And a lot of people found comfort in my words and they could relate to my stories.
I'm severely dyslexic, so I was always the not so clever one at school. I was in the bottom set for everything. I was probably thrown out of quite a few classes because I didn't understand and I wasn't academic and I couldn't keep up with everybody else. So I was like, right, I'm going to do my own thing and I'm going to start a company. I was quite obsessed with ASOS about, who likes ASOS in here? Yeah. So back when I was 15, ASOS was called As Seen on Screen. So I'm 28 now, so it's quite a long time ago. I'm getting on a little bit. So I studied that company, I Googled that company, I found out who started it, I found out how they started it, I found out how much money they raised to start it and everything. Bearing in mind, I hadn't had a business studies lesson or anything like that at school, so all the information that I found out literally was through the internet. And nowadays, anything that you do want to find out, you can do that because everything's at your fingertips. So I went through the stages. The best thing for me to do, rather than selling clothes and everything, was jewellery because it was so small and I could keep it in my bedroom. Bearing in mind I was 15 and I did still live with my parents. So I set up a company. I was a quad bike instructor actually from quite an early age. I had every job under the sun. I did leaflets, I washed boats, I stayed a quad bike instructor for quite a long time. Anyway, so I raised some money so I could build a website. Built the website, it was terrible. I think we took about 3 sales. And they were from my grandma, from my auntie, so let's just say it wasn't amazing. So I went out and I did sales at charity events, at gyms, anywhere basically that I could put up a table and sell my jewellery. Even at school, and actually that's not allowed, so don't do that because I got in a lot of trouble for that. I then got to a point where I was trying to find out how all these companies went forward, and I found out loads of people were wearing their jewellery. So and that kind of links me to the video with Alicia. The first person who actually wore jewellery that I sold was Paris Hilton. So have you heard of her? Yeah. She's a bit irrelevant now. But back then she was quite big. She came over to the UK to do my British best friend. And I found out what hotel she was staying in London, and I put a nice little package together of a load of jewellery and I gave it to the concierge. And I didn't actually think it was going to get to her, but it did. And the next day she walked out of the hotel wearing one of my necklaces.
You was one of our alumni for the 2010 music category.
Yes.
And you got to meet the likes of Labyrinth and a couple of others at Downing Street with the Prime Minister. What was that experience like?
I was, thinking back on it, I didn't even know what was going on around me at the time because I'm now 19, so I've just finished my studies, my A-levels and everything. So at the time how long ago was that? Like 5 years?
Yeah, 2010.
I was like 14 years old, so I've been writing since I was about 4, just poetry, words. I never called them songs at the time because I just called them poems and, little stories that you write. So over the years I'd written and done loads of performances. I think my first performance was at Hackney Empire, and then from there I was able to sing at different venues, O2, Indigo 2, Hammersmith Apollo, some of the biggest venues in the UK. And all I knew was that I loved performing and I loved people, I loved connecting with people, even at such a young age. I like having conversations, just connecting with people. So for me, when I was told that I was nominated for the award in 2010, it was a big shock because it was like, okay, I'm being nominated for an award for doing what? I was just thinking, what have I done? But when I look back on it, I've worked with so many people, lots of young people I've mentored. I still mentor young people. I say young people, I am a young person myself, so I can't really say young people, but just for now. But yeah, it was great to be acknowledged. I got to meet some amazing people, performers. I got to meet loads of people like Dean, Sam, loads of people that are here now. And SOLA, in a way, has opened doors for me. Everything that I've done, I've been really blessed, and doors have been opened for me. I was able to perform with ACM Gospel Choir. Mark, who's the leader, who's worked with everyone in the industry. He works with all the competitions, you know, The Voice, X Factor, all of those TV programs. So it's just, for me, I was really encouraged that a lot of the work that I had done had been recognised, and I think it was achievement through music. It was through the songs that I've written. So one of the songs I've written was called "Stand Up My People," and I lost a friend of mine to knife crime some years back. So for me, I wrote that, and it became a big thing within our community. So yeah.
That's how you first got involved in fashion.
Yeah, funny enough, literally I was really inspired by school, to be honest. You know, I went over to college. It's quite a posh school, and a lot of the times I had to wear my blazer, and my mum would buy me a big blazer because I had to fit into it, and it was really annoying. So I really had to get fashionable and roll up the sleeves, shorten my tie, you know, fit my collar up and whatnot. And you know, most of the girls liked it, so I just followed it on.
So tell us a bit about ODF.
Yeah. So, yeah, I've been blessed to have a fantastic brand called ODF Clothing, which stands for One Diverse Fashion. And it's really a simple brand with a contemporary style. As you can see, the hat here is ODF, my blazer as well is ODF as well. It's really simple. It's literally about getting different people to wear the clothes, but in a simple way. It's more about the people that wear it than the actual clothes. And we've been fortunate enough to sell at ASOS and other places as well, so we're doing quite well. Got a lot of people wearing it as well. How many people heard of Stormzy? Where do you know me from? Yeah, he's another one that's actually sported our clothes not too long ago, so that's done really well for us.
Basically, how I got into business was, I was quite young, so maybe a little bit older than you guys, around 16, and obviously I was always into fashion. I really always liked it, you know, like looking at PDD and Jay-Z and whatnot, and like, you know, the hip-hop swag and whatnot. I was always interested in that sort of thing, so me and my pals, we started making a clothing line. We started t-shirts, to be honest, and it was doing really successfully. So we used to go around our local area, sell our t-shirt, and people really got into it and they really started buying it. And from there, that's when we started doing very well. So, you know, that's how we got on the radar, Spirit of London in those days, and eventually moved on. But since then, I've been involved in a lot of things. Spirit of London actually opened quite a few doors for me from when we were awarded in 2009, and it's helped me develop a lot because since then I went to university, and once I was at university, I got into events. So maybe some of you guys are a bit too young to have heard of it, but I own an event brand called Barfest, and it's quite big in the university sector. I went there, did quite well. Since 2012, we had over 30,000 event goers, so that's a major event. Whilst I was at uni, I started another business, and this one some of you guys might have heard of. It's called Trendset UK. It's on Instagram. We've got quite a few followers on there. So started doing that. So back into fashion again. So I've always been very heavily interested in fashion.
But when I was in high school, so when I was in year 9, I kind of similar to Samantha I was kind of like the kid in class that kind of sat in the corner, and I was in the bottom set for maths, for English, for science, and I thought, you know what, I'm dumb. Like, I thought I'm stupid. And people used to say, like, yo, waste man, What are you saying? And literally every day I'll get hit down. But the important thing to realize is, in fact, because if you fight and you actually believe you can achieve, you can achieve. And the reason I got that mentality was through dance. Now, I'm a breaker. I'm a b-boy. Who knows what a b-boy is? And breaking, right, it taught me about life. When I'm breaking, I'm battling. I'm not battling someone, I'm battling my life. And it gave me the mentality. That's where it came from.
Alright, so yeah, my name is Jason. I'm a 22-year-old singer-songwriter. All started as a kid. I got the kind of typical cliche black story. I'm a PK, which means a preacher's kid. And I started singing in church, like a lot of other singers. I remember being very, very nervous. I always knew I wanted to become a singer from seeing Usher performing on top of the pops back in the day. And I always just knew I wanted to become a singer. And I remember getting a chance to perform in front of about 1,000 people when I was about 8 years old at a gospel competition. And I got a lead part, which I fought really, really hard for. And when it came the day to perform, I remember the curtains open, I saw about 1,000 people in front of me, and I chickened out. I couldn't get myself to sing. I was so very, very much nervous. And I remember someone else that wanted my part, he came and took the microphone out of my hand, started singing, everyone went crazy. And I remember just being so embarrassed. My mum just had her hand to her face, like, oh my God, what has he done, kind of thing. And from then on I was like, okay, I'm always gonna just make myself do it and go hard or go home. And ever since then, I moved to Ilford in Essex. And from then I got a scholarship to go to the Brit School. If anyone knows what the Brit School is, people like Jessie J. Adele and Winehouse and Lewis all attended there. And when I left, I got a publishing deal with Sony TV. And ever since then, I've just kind of been on grind. I've been working. I actually mainly worked as a dancer. I've danced and choreographed video for the band Oliver Twist, with the CEO of Dancers. I've danced for Kanye West. I've danced for so many people. I've been reached out by Dappy. I've been reached out by Ariana Grande from doing covers of some of their songs, and it's really, really humbling when people acknowledge your work. And yeah, since then I've released an EP called Genesis, which was the kind of beginning to my career, musical journey. And it went number 10 on the iTunes R&B charts, which was amazing. I was very, very humbled. And yeah, ever since then I've got songs with Sleepo, Dundria, Gecko, Paige KV, and we out here working. And now I'm here with the SOLA, my family.
Yeah.
Hello, good afternoon.
You are not a musician, but you do a lot around music.
Yeah.
SOLA Business Entrepreneur 2010, tell us about how you started out.
So, basically I started out, I'm a Northwest London boy as well, like you guys. So I started out when I was kind of 16, 17, after I finished my A-levels, I went straight and set up my own business. So I set up a media company. So what we did is we kind of made like websites and apps and stuff for like a whole host of people. So we worked in that kind of music industry a lot. Worked with people like The Game, if you heard of him, a few different artists and stuff in the UK and everything as well. We worked on a lot of campaigns, social media campaigns, and just kind of grew like companies. So I started that with just me and my brother. Started off in our bedroom, ended up expanding, having offices out in central London, and then out in LA as well. And then last year I sold the company, and then started working independently. So I'm 23 now. So now I work independently as a designer. So I work on a lot of kind of creative products and different projects. So recently I've worked with, have you guys heard of Quincy? P. Diddy's son. So exactly, alright, cool. So I'm working with him right now on his watch line and a few different projects we've got going on. Recently did a project, concept for Jay-Z and Tidal as well, so I did that. So a few different things going on, and then I'm out to Miami tomorrow
with Diddy and Quincy for the Revolt Music Conference, and now to LA for 10 days as well to work on a few new ideas with them. So.
Who are your personal role models when you were growing up, and why were they?
Okay, who are my personal role models? I have to be honest in saying that I don't have many role models that are typical celebrities, just because I'm not too involved in celebrity culture. But I'd say I read a lot of books growing up, and one of my favourite writers as a very young child was Jacqueline Wilson, because she was able for me to captivate me in a story, and I have a really short attention span, so it was really interesting that she was able to do that in her writing.
I'd probably say my two biggest role models, firstly Martin Luther King, really inspired by the way that he was engaged in governance and politics, but he wasn't necessarily in the system. Because sometimes in life, if you're so ambitious for a position, you don't do things, you don't stay true to your conviction. But he's not like he was trying to be president or an MP or whatever. He was just genuinely passionate about equality. And that's something that I always go back to when I'm in the things I'm involved with. And Nelson Mandela, the reason why he inspires me is because the reality is he had challenges, he was in prison, but he came out and he still stuck to his principles. I feel like there's so many times in life, especially when you're young, to move away from those things that you feel are right because of popular culture or because you feel like people should do certain things. But he always stuck to his principles as a leader. He was like, what is the right thing to do, as opposed to what is the thing I feel like, or what is the thing others would like me to do.
You know, everyone in this room has some sort of genius level of talent, but it's up to you to discover it. It's up to you to know what you're good at. You know, how many footballers we got in the building? Put your hands up. Yeah. How many people that are, you know, good at music? Any musicians in the room? Yeah? Cool, let's go into, how many people are really good at maths? Yeah? English, science, ICT. You know, we've got plenty of different things. Whatever you're good at, it's up to you to master it. You've got to be the best at it. Yeah? And another thing I would say as well, which is really important, is to learn to stand in, to stand out. Yeah? Can we repeat that? Stand in to stand out. Let's go. That's good. That means you stand with the mix, but you stand up by following your dream. So I think that's a really good thing to say for the people.
My inspiration changes every day. My inspiration changes every day. Today I've just been inspired by this whole panel, to be honest, just watching everyone and listening to everyone's stories. When I growing up, probably my main inspiration was Usher, watching him, and of course Michael Jackson, and my parents. My parents really inspire me. The fact that they wake up every day, going to work, you know, coming back, mom cooking, doing this and that. That was very inspiring. And but also I'm inspired on a daily basis, and people inspire me. I love just watching people, seeing what they're doing. A lot of times I'll just sit on a train, I'll go from one side of the central line to the other end and just sit down and write songs and just be inspired.
So I think for me, when I was younger, in terms of a role model, I wouldn't say I had like a particular role model growing up. I would say maybe my father was probably my biggest role model when I was growing up. He passed away about 15 years ago. But for me, he was the one who got up in the morning, kind of similar to you, going to work and just kind of grinding away, and that was very powerful.
I couldn't agree with these guys more. Definitely, I think inspirations, like Jason will say, constantly change because there's so much happening every day. And we're open to so much as well, like in kind of like the social media era, we can see so many people's lives and what they're doing and be inspired by them. But I think generally I was inspired more by circumstances than kind of people specifically. So kind of growing up, it was more of a situation where I wanted to kind of change the way maybe my life was and what I could provide in the future for my family and people around me in terms of opportunities, especially as I grew up I started noticing how big kind of the tech industry is and how much can happen there. So my inspiration was more so that, because the people I was around, so all my friends, and even now some of them have gone to university and maybe I find it hard to get jobs or trying to find a sort of path in their career. I'm inspired by people like that to try and find a way to create opportunities, to open kind of other doors and see what we can kind of do together and collaborate with people. So that's kind of my inspiration, just trying to do more creatively for the world.